All right, Nick, let's head down to Columbia. Well, we are already here, or I am at least, and talk about the Carolina Gamecocks. We love talking about the Gamecocks, and there's been some big news in the transfer portal, a new key addition to South Carolina that I think is going to be very important for this upcoming season.
Yeah, Miles, I think Carolina Gamecocks, will love the report that you dug up. But before we get into that and start talking about the future, let's take a step back and look at the past. And that leads me to my question today for Carolina Gamecocks fans to answer in the comment section below. Give me your favorite South Carolina Gamecock win of all time. There's a lot of great ones. I think that Lattimore Garcia victory over Alabama a few years ago when Spurrier was running the show is probably up there, but there's been a lot of great victories. Let me know your favorite South Carolina victory in the comment section below. All right, Miles, what you got? What's the latest out of Columbia?
Yeah, Nick, I think I gotta go with Michigan Outback Bowl, Jadeveon Clowney,
Yeah, that's a good one.
the elite level, fumble, sack recovery, great play. So that's a game that really stands out in my mind as a fan watching the Gamecocks. But there's some good news for us as fans of the Gamecocks. There has been a big time signing in the transfer portal, Nick, an offensive lineman addition to help Spencer Rattler get more protection this season. I'm going to pull up the article right now. It says another transfer to South Carolina Gamecocks football team was added on Wednesday when Jackson Hughes, an offensive lineman from Charlotte, announced his decision on Instagram. Hughes, who will join the team as a walk-on, started in 11 games at left tackle this past season for the 49ers. He was a 7-game starter in 2021, 5 at left tackle, 2 at right tackle, and since he signed out of high school in the class of 2019, he will still have 2 seasons of eligibility to play in Columbia. So, Nick, there's a couple of points here that I want to go over, and then I want to hear your thoughts on this signing. One, I love this guy has played both left and right tackle in a college level system. So he can potentially, you have depth there. If you need help, he can do either one there at a pretty good level. And two, Nick, this guy started all 11 games last season after maybe some injury concerns the season before. So that is good news. And there's one more point I didn't bring up yet, but I want to talk about it, Nick. In that 11-game season, he anchored an offensive line that protected the Charlotte 49ers record-setting passing game. Charlotte put up a record 3,252 passing yards. That was a staggering 271 yards per game, Nick. So this guy has been there. He's a great pass blocker, and since South Carolina's going to want to air the ball out with Spencer Rattler, I think he's a great passer of the football. I think this is a big-time add for the Gamecocks. What are your thoughts on Jackson Hughes? Do you think this is a big addition for this team?
I love this move, and here's why. I love college football programs that think like NFL programs. One of the key moves on our NFL show, we talk about it all the time. A lot of teams that are trying to contend, one of the concerns they have is injuries at the offensive line, specifically at the tackles that are protecting your quarterback. Of course, we know the Carolina offense relies heavily on Spencer Rattler. When he's on, they're pretty much unstoppable. We saw that, for example, against Tennessee, right? So they're going to be going into 2023 thinking how they can protect Spencer Rattler. And the reality of the world of football is injuries do happen, and injuries at one of the 2 tackle positions can be devastating for an offense, especially one like Carolina's. Getting a guy in Jackson Hughes who can play both sides and do it at a high level as a depth guy. You hear this phrase swing tackle. That means he can play left tackle or right tackle if this whatever situation presents itself. I think will be huge if an injury can, if I should say, if or when an injury occurs, because it's just a matter of fact that injuries do happen at this level of football. And the fact that you have a guy ready and waiting in the wings to step up when that happens to make sure your offense doesn't miss a beat, I think is really smart. That's how NFL teams, that's how smart NFL GMs operate, manage their franchises. And I absolutely love that Beamer is doing this at the South Carolina level. We know that programs in major college football that run them like their NFL, you see this at Alabama, right? You see this at Georgia with Kirby Smart, runs it actually the Alabama method, but it's based on NFL programs, right? That's exactly the kind of teams that have long-term success. I love that Carolina is following that model. I think it's a great sign for them going forward. This move is going to be good in terms of adding depth. That's a good thing. But the fact their overall strategy is focused very much in line with how an NFL team operates, I think is a great sign as well.
Yeah, Nick, a couple other tidbits about this guy. If you want to know more about him, I think these 2 things are kind of interesting. He comes from a family that has some very athletic members. His mom obviously was a softball player at Ohio State, so she's a collegiate athlete. Both of his sisters also are collegiate athletes at Charlotte 49ers. And if you wonder, okay, this guy is coming over, Charlotte 49ers, obviously a very different style of offense than South Carolina Gamecocks. Will he be able to learn the system quick enough? Well, this guy's also very smart, Nick. He was on the Dean's list spring of 2021, and he was on the athletic director's list spring of 2022. So he's got his academics in order as well. So I think those are all very interesting points that maybe will show why South Carolina was so interested in a guy like this.